Hello, this is Angelia, and you are listening to or watching the podcast, Why You Do What You Do. The podcast that talks about human development and psychology to help you maybe figure out a little bit more about why you do what you do. And last time we were talking about the aging population and, vision it starts to go as we get older. And we're going to take back up on that. Moderate visual problems often can be helped by corrective lenses, such as these. Medical or surgical treatment. Now, my husband's eye doctor said he was a perfect candidate for LASIK. But, he was scared and he never did get it. So he's still wearing glasses, and that's fine. Everybody does their own thing. Or changes in the environment, such as turning on the lights, My house is kind of dark because I have blinds and I have curtains because I have to, because when we didn't have those, I would look out and my neighbors would be looking in my house. And there were two men looking in my house one day, and I put the leash on my dog and I went out there, and they were surprised to see my dog. She was a German Shepherd Chow Chow mix, and she was not happy with people being near our home. So I said, "Why are you staring at my windows?" And they were, "Oh, we were just trying to see how you had it decorated in there. We were, looking at you." And I'm like, "You were still standing outside of my bay window looking into my house. Not okay." So, nobody ever raised them right, I guess. I don't know. You don't go to people's houses and stare in their windows. That's bad. That's being a peeping Tom, and it's also against the law, so don't do it. It's that easy. However, nearly 1 in 5 adults aged 70 and older has visual losses that cannot be corrected by glasses or contact lenses. Because the structure of your eye changes, and if you go to the eye doctor and they do that little thing where they sit you there and you put your chin on the thing, and the little things across your head, and they're looking in your eye, they puff the air in your eye, which I hate, to see if your eye's, rigid or soft, and, because either one could be a problem. Approximately 1.8 million community-dwelling older adults report difficulty with bathing, dressing, and walking around the house, in part because they are visually impaired. And that's why they offer, disability for people who are blind, because it is a pretty serious problem, dealing with things. Most visual impairments, including blindness, are caused by cataracts. And my grandma had cataracts. And the joke was she called them Cadillacs one time because I forget who said what. A kid said, something about having Cadillacs in your eyes or something. And so she joked about her Cadillacs. But age-related macular degeneration. And I knew a guy that I used to work with that had that. He had a big magnifying thing, and he had to look at it. And we actually went to a thrift store when we were on vacation, and there was a woman working there who had the big thing, and she was looking through, to see the stuff, and so that's a thing that can happen. Glaucoma or diabetic retinopathy, a complication of diabetes not related to age, and now my uncle is having problems with this right now. More than half of people over 65 develop cataracts, cloudy or opaque areas in the lens of the eye that eventually cause blurred vision. And my grandma had these, and she started wearing, and you could start to see them, but her doctor didn't really want to do the operation because she was older, and she had diabetes. So she wore big sunglasses, and I called them her movie star sunglasses. I still have them in there. I wore them till they started getting loose, and then I was like, I'm not going to wear them anymore because I don't want them to break. So I still hold on to my grandma's movie star sunglasses that she wore because she had cataracts and she didn't want people to see them. Surgery to remove cataracts is usually successful and is one of the most common operations among older Americans. And again, she had a lot of health issues, so there were complications, and they didn't want to do it to her. And she didn't like that. She didn't like, because she could see them and she knew other people could see them. And so, like I say, she had her movie star sunglasses on, so people couldn't see her cataracts. Age-related macular degeneration, in which the center of the retina gradually loses the ability to sharply distinguish fine details, is the leading cause of irreversible vision impairment in older adults. And like I said, you might see one with a big magnifying thing, and that's the problem, is that their eye just can't do it anymore, and they need that big amount of magnification. Glaucoma is irreversible damage to the optic nerve caused by increased pressure in the eye. And that's why they do that little puff test on your eye. If left untreated, it can cause blindness. So, there are treatments, but you have to catch it in time. In 1995, 8% of the elderly population reported having glaucoma, but many more may be unaware that they have it. Elderly African Americans are twice as likely to develop glaucoma as elderly white people. So if you're an African American, get those eye exams, so you don't end up with that and have irreversible, vision loss. Hearing. 43% of older adults have hearing loss, often caused by presbycusis, an age-related reduction in ability to hear high-pitched sounds. And now my father and my husband have that. I can't understand kids. I can't understand women. What did they say? I can't understand. And it's like, why don't y'all just get hearing aids? But they're both stubborn and they don't want to get hearing aids. They want you to just speak up and speak louder. Presbycusis makes it hard to hear what other people are saying, especially when there is competing noise from radio or television or several people talking at once. And my husband has the background noise problem, and that's why I tell him, get your bell tones that filter out the background noise, Because if we're in a restaurant, like we went to eat for my son's 30th birthday, he couldn't hear a word. I was sitting right next to him. My son was across from him. He couldn't hear a word we said because there was this band playing, in the corner over here, like right behind our table. He couldn't hear a word, the poor guy. He said, I have no idea what was said during that dinner. I couldn't hear nothing. Other causes of hearing loss are extreme or chronic exposure to loud music. He listened too loud when he was a kid. That might have contributed. Smoking, a history of middle ear infections. Now, I had that. I had to have tubes in my ears. Two of my sons also did. But the tube in this ear grew into the eardrum. They had to have this surgery when I was 7 years old to have that removed. And ever since, this ear, I cannot hear as good out of this ear as I can out of this ear. So I call that my bad ear. And that's like in chorus when, I would come in on some stuff and they would say, listen to her or whatever. I'd say, you need to put them on my left then because I can't hear as good on my right. So if you want me to, listen to the note, because, sometimes I would be off key on a high note because maybe I got hearing loss. But, I'd say, I need them over here. And long exposure to certain chemicals. Hearing loss may contribute to a false perception of older people as distractible, absent-minded, and irritable. Because, sometimes people get irritable if they're not hearing you right. Now, I've noticed my dad, and sometimes my husband will do it, and I'll be like, But, say, speak up, slow down, enunciate. And it's like, oh, okay. Get hearing aids. Because I guarantee you, if I start having that problem, I'm probably going to get them myself because I'm not going to want to miss what my kids are saying. That's important stuff. So, hearing impairments increase with age. About 17% of persons 85 and older are totally deaf. So, that's a small portion, but approaching, a fifth or so. So, get your hearing checked. And if you need the hearing aids, wear the hearing aids. They got the little guys that stick in your ear now that you can barely see. They don't have the big monsters like they used to. Well, some people still have to wear the big monsters. It depends on how bad you are. But isn't it worth hearing what your loved ones have to say more than looking like, you have a hearing aid in your ear because you do? Who cares? To me, it's worth more to hear. I'm not that vain, Men are more likely than women to have hearing problems. And whites are more likely than blacks. So, again, white folks, get your hearing checked. Hearing aids can help, but can be hard to adjust to, since they tend to magnify background noise as well as the sounds a person wants to hear. Now, my father-in-law, evidently he had problems hearing for years and everything, and he got the hearing aids, and he's like, whoa! He goes, I can hear the birds again. He goes, I didn't realize that I really couldn't hear the birds anymore. And, that's a thing my husband, he rarely can hear it. When the birds are loud, he can hear them, but, otherwise not so much. And I said, I wish you would get the hearing aids. I hate that you're missing stuff like that, like if a bird's outside our window, and I'm like, oh, that's a pretty song that bird's doing. And he's like, I don't hear a bird. And I'm like, that's a shame. Get your hearing aids so you can hear this stuff. I hate that you're missing stuff. Another device for assisting hearing is a built-in telephone amplifier. And I'm sure we've all seen the advertisements for those on TV. Taste and smell. What you taste often depends on what you can smell. And if you don't believe that, hold your nose or put a, clothespin on or whatever, and then do the taste test like that, and you realize it does make a difference. Losses in both these senses can be a normal part of aging, but also may be caused by a wide variety of diseases and medications, by surgery, or by exposure to noxious substances in the environment. And now we know that COVID can affect your taste and smell. When older people complain that their food does not taste good anymore, which my father does, so it doesn't taste as good as it used to. It may be because they have fewer taste buds in the tongue, or because the taste receptors are not working properly. So, excuse me. My husband's also complained about this don't taste like it should or whatever. And I don't have that problem. I can smell really well. In fact, sometimes there's smells and I'm like, what is that smell? And I'll go sniffing around the house until I find it, and he'll be, oh yeah, I didn't smell anything, And my son would be like, I didn't smell anything either. And, it's like, I don't know. How does that happen? It also may be because the olfactory bulb, the organ in the brain that is responsible for the sense of smell, or other related brain structures, are damaged. So again, as you age, and like if you have a stroke or anything, parts of your brain can get damaged, and that will affect your sense of taste and smell. Sensitivity to sour, salty, and bitter flavors may be affected more than sensitivity to sweetness. So, if you used to like salty stuff and then suddenly it just kind of tastes bland to you, you're less likely to do it. Or like my husband used to like this bitter, sour candy that the boys used to get. And, if you lose your taste for that, then you're not going to want that. He still likes it, so evidently he didn't lose that. But most people keep the taste for sweetness, and that gets to be a bigger problem as we age because we're more likely to get diabetes. Women seem to retain the senses of taste and smell better than men do. So you men, if we say we smell something, we do. Check it out. Just because you didn't smell it doesn't mean there's not a smell. Strength, endurance, balance, and reaction time. Older people have less strength than they once had and are limited in activities requiring endurance or the ability to carry heavy loads. And that's just, common sense. That's why we know if our elders are, getting older, that we can do hard tasks for them. We can carry things. That's why we go to the store for my dad and bring his groceries in, because he was starting to have a problem carrying the groceries up the steps and getting them in the house, because his porch is low and it's small, and so he was having to bend over, and we were worried he had already fallen. We were worried he was going to fall, so he said, I'll let you do that for me, because I do have a problem. So he's a proud man, a stubborn man, so if he knows that we know there's a problem, then he'll let you do something for him. So adults generally lose about 10 to 20% of their strength up to age 70. especially in the muscles of the lower body. Now, I've noticed my calves, I used to have pretty good sized calves, and they've shrunken. And that was worrisome to me. It's like, my calves are going away. That's weird. But I'm pushing 60, so, that's probably just normal. And more after that. So the older we get, the more muscle mass we start to lose. So bad news for you there if you're wanting to look buff when you're 70 years old. Walking endurance declines more consistently with age, especially among women, than some other aspects of fitness such as flexibility. So women, we start to lose that endurance and everything for walking. So if you start noticing that, start doing some stepping. Even doing a little dance exercise, watching a video or whatever can help you, keep some endurance so that you can walk. These losses may be largely reversible, however. So you can overcome things. In controlled studies with people in their 60s to 90s, that's pretty far up there, weight training. Now, my mother-in-law is in the hospital right now. She has pneumonia. You might want to send up a prayer for her if you're a praying person. And she's not doing well. She's looking a little rough. And they're talking about sending her to rehab. And I was talking with her the other day about, because she said she was so weak. I said, we could bring you some dumbbells, because she has little dumbbells where you can sit and, do your dumbbells and ankle weights and lift your legs, to try and gain some strength. And she laughed about it, but, it would help. So if you find yourself being so weak, that might be a good idea. Is while you're sitting there, even watching TV, they have those little exercise machines where you can paddle, your feet, pedal, and you can sit there with some, little hand dumbbells and do that. Because even if you can't get out, like we still have, we had 13 inches of snow total, but we still have at least 10 on the ground. It's so cold here. It's in the teens today. When I got up this morning, the real feel was in the single digits. So, unless you had a clear off of the drive or whatever, and you can walk up and down, no one's getting out and exercising. I've actually seen people. There was a person jogging on a main road, and I'm like, dude, I understand if you're physically fit, but maybe you get like a bike or something to put out on your patio, or an exercise bike. I've seen that in apartments where people have like an exercise bike on their patio, or they just get out and do the exercise bike instead of riding out somewhere. But on a day when there's ice on the road, probably not a good idea to go jogging. That's just my opinion. Better safe than sorry. Resistance training. I used to have some of those resistance bands, and I'd put on the feet and do that, trying to work on the abs, but my children destroyed my abs, so there's no coming back from this. Programs lasting 8 weeks or 2 years increased muscle strength, size, and mobility. Now I was doing measurements because I'm making a silk jacket for myself, taking an old one that I found at a thrift store, and cutting it up, and then adding new panels in and everything to make me a jacket. And I was taking my measurements versus I hadn't made anything for myself in like 2 years. And I took my measurements, and the biceps and thighs were bigger, and the waist and the hips were smaller. So I was happy about that, because it's like, hey, yeah. So, the diet and exercise is paying off a little bit. So, you want to stay strong. And mobility, speed, endurance, and leg muscle power. And that's important. Because if you can't walk around your house, you know what that's going to lead to. And spontaneous physical activity. Meaning you're more willing to get up and go places with someone. Hey, do you want to go here? Well, yeah, sure. Versus, oh no, I can't walk. We'd have to bring the chair. We have to get a power chair. It holds you back. It does. Even low impact, moderate intensity aerobic dance, and I do dance exercise. at least once a week, probably more, because I'll add that on to the end of something. Like if I finish something, I'll add some more minutes to that. So that's something you can do. Everybody can do that. You can listen to some music on the radio, and take 7 minutes out of your day, or 10 minutes, or 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes is better. And just do yourself a little dance exercise there, right in your bedroom or your living room. If you're worried about people seeing you in your living room, just, do that for yourself so you can stay strong. And it also helps your core because you get to work on your balance. Exercise training can increase peak oxygen uptake. So again, any exercise you do is a positive unless you overdo it and hurt yourself. Leg muscle strength. Again, we start losing that leg muscle as we age, so you're going to want to keep those strong, even if they don't look like they used to, have that nice, calf depth there. It at least can be strong, even if it doesn't look so nice as it used to. And vigor. Again, you want to be able to get up and go and do things. This evidence of plasticity or modifiability of performance, because, again, the old saying is, if you don't use it, you lose it, and that's true when it comes to muscles, is especially important because people whose muscles have atrophied are more likely to suffer falls and fractures. And my mother-in-law has already fractured her hip, and she fell 8 times in the past 2 months. She's got the call button, and fire and rescue come, and they kind of griped at my middle son who was living with her at the time and said, this is a cop-out. She's doing this so she doesn't have to leave her home, but I'm telling you now, she has to leave her home because she's falling too much, and, she can't stay here by herself and be falling all the time. So, that's on the horizon. And to need help with tasks of day-to-day living. So, again, the stronger you are, the more you can do for yourself. Me and my dad had this conversation when he got out of rehab. He fell and he was in rehab, and he was discouraged. And I said, but you're not a lazy man, as far as, doing anything for yourself. And you're strong, you always have been. You've got some muscle tone, so you just need to use it. You need to start, doing stuff so that you don't get so weak, because that's the deal. If you don't use it, you lose it. And if you keep moving, you can keep moving. If you stop moving, then you're going to stop moving. Like the old saying, a body in motion stays in motion, a body at rest stays in rest. So he's got to where he'll do these little, leg lifts and bend his, ankles and stuff like that and everything. And he pushes himself up, out of his chair and everything. And, he was having to use a walker and he doesn't have to anymore. So, it's made a difference. Even if you're sitting in a chair, you can still do leg lifts during commercials. You can, point your toe, because that strengthens your calf muscle. If you don't believe me, do it right now. Point your toe like you're doing a little ballet thing. Feel your calf muscle. All right. And then feel the top of your thigh muscle on top when you point the toe. And then unpoint the toe. So it does strengthen your muscles, even just to do that sitting in your chair. One reason for older adults' susceptibility to falls is reduced sensitivity of the receptor cells that give the brain information about the body's position in space. So again, if you don't use it, you lose it. And you'll be stumbling all around and falling because you don't have any grace or balance. Information needed to maintain balance. So again, if you lose the muscle tone and the nerve receptors are not, used to telling the brain where you're at and what you're doing, you're going to lose that. It's going to decrease, and you're going to be more susceptible to falling. Slower reflexes and impaired depth perception also contribute to loss of balance. So, like I will think something's closer or further sometimes and kind of do a little trip number. And usually that's just when I'm just not paying attention. I don't have a problem with depth perception. I have actually pretty good depth perception. But sometimes if you're just in a hurry, not paying attention, you'll think something's further or closer. But if you don't take care of your body and keep it moving, you might lose that ability. So that's something to also keep in mind and do some exercise. Older adults may find it harder than younger adults to recover when they lose their balance. And I know that is true. And that's been true for me since my 30s. Once I hurt my back really bad when I was in my 30s, I ended up with 4 slip discs in the back. And, it was pinching on a nerve. I had the lovely sciatica thing where that pain shoots down your booty into your leg, and every now and then, if I do too much, I have it still. But, excuse me, that became a serious problem with my balance, and that's why I have to walk outside with a cane and down the stairs, because I fell like 3 times, or actually 4 times. I cracked my ankle once. I broke a foot once. Excuse me. I dislocated my clavicle and had a big goose egg on my head. So, it's like, you need to use this cane going down the steps and on uneven ground, because this has become a problem for you. And it's all about the balance. Because I have the bad back, the bad hip, the bad knees, the bad feet. I have a balance problem. And that's what someone made a snarky comment about me not leaning on the cane. Well, the cane isn't to hold me upright. The cane is to keep me from falling on my booty. It's my kickstand. I need it for the balance. I'm not so decrepit that I have to lean upon the cane. I need the balance. That's my kickstand to keep me from falling over. Much as John Glenn was a bit slower than younger crewmates to recover his sea legs after floating weightless for 9 days. So, again, the older you are, the harder it is to recover, from any upset or fall or, trip, So, again, it behooves you to stay in at least a moderate amount of shape. Many falls and fractures are preventable by boosting muscle strength, balance, and gait speed. So again, if any little thing you can do, like I said, do a little dance exercise, do a little, chair yoga, something to keep yourself in some kind of shape where you just aren't standing up and falling down. Because I used to work in a nursing home years ago. And there were people like that. They couldn't even put their feet on the ground and stand up. They would just, we had to put them in those long chairs, because they couldn't even sit upright. And it's just sad to get to that point. And by eliminating hazards commonly found in the home. My dad's fallen twice, and he attributes both times to something not being where it should have been, or something was in the way. So, keeping your environment clutter-free, and that's something I talked to my oldest son about quite a bit, because he's got a bad habit of taking his socks off when he comes home, because he works where his feet get wet in a lab, and they have, they wash cages and things. And so he'll take his socks off and kick them in the floor when he gets home to air his feet out, which, makes sense. That's a good thing. You don't want to get jungle rot or anything on your feet. But then remember to move those socks, when you get up, so that mom doesn't come in the dark of a morning to turn off the porch light, when it's, getting light, and trip over your socks. So that's important. So here's some safety checklists for preventing falls in the home. Stairways, hallways, and pathways, keep them free of clutter. Good lighting, especially at top of stairs. Now, I'm in an older home that doesn't have a lot of good lighting. We basically have, ceiling lights. I have 1 or 2 lamps here and there, but, it's, the rooms are narrow and high, so the lighting's not the best. Light switches at top and bottom of the stairs. We had that in a townhouse we used to live in when I was younger. They had a light switch at the bottom and the top. And we used to tease my little sister, because she'd get scared. So we'd wait till she was like halfway up the stairs and turn the light off on her, because kids are mean. tightly fastened handrails on both sides and full length of stairs. We now have one on the back, and we have two on the front. So, we do have those, but again, you don't want your older persons falling off your steps, so that's important. Carpets firmly attached and not frayed. Now, actually, a carpet not being attached saved my life one time. So that was a good thing. But in general, you don't want people falling and tripping on carpets. And actually, that's why I've removed all my area rugs, because I had little rugs, and I was starting to trip on them because like I say, I've developed to the point where I have a shuffle. I call it my grandma. My left leg drags pretty good. So I've removed the area rugs for the simple fact that I was tripping on them, and I don't want to fall and bust my back or my head again. No frayed, rough textured, or abrasive strips to secure footing. Again, if anything is making you trip or there's a problem there, you need to take care of it. Bath mats, you want bath mats in the bathroom that have the rubber on the bottom, so when you step out, you're not going to slide. You want a mat in the bathtub so that you're not going to slide on a slick tub. Or you can have them little sticky things you put on the bottom, if you don't want the mat in the tub. A lot of people don't like the mat in the tub, but you can buy those little flowers or shells or whatever to put in the bottom so that there's some kind of texture there so you're not sliding out. Grab bars, conveniently located inside and outside of the tubs and showers and near toilets. Now, the people who lived here, we built like a tub surround around the tub, but there was already an edge. So we have, where it sticks out, we have like a bar now that we can hold on to. So I do have something that I can hold on to when I get in and out of the tub. It's not like a bar you buy at the store, but I call it a bar because it's there and I can grab onto it. Now we don't have anything near the toilet. And that sometimes, especially my knee, I slid out on this ice on my driveway. I didn't fall and hit myself, thank goodness. But I did hurt my knee when I slid out in my back. So the muscles have been hurting. So here lately, getting up, because we have an old house. Everything's old and big and low and high, and it's crazy. But getting up from a seated position has been hard this past week or so. So that's a little rough. All living areas, your electrical cords, and telephones, wires out of the walking paths. In your bedroom, telephones, night lights. Again, this is helpful. We have night lights, so I think that's important. Non-skid mats. If you're going to get mats, get the kind with the rubber on the bottom. Like I said, that's what I got in front of my sink. And like I said, these area rugs, I had braided rugs and, those little puffy rugs that my mom bought, but they didn't have rubber on the back. So they're kind of put away for now. I might use them here and there for different things in my next house. But for now, they're kind of put back in the storage. Let's see. Telephone in the bedroom. You should always have a telephone in the bedroom and a light switch within easy reach of beds. That's not always possible, but you can have a flashlight. I have a flashlight under my pillow. And of course, we have a night light on at night. But I have a flashlight in case, my side of the room is darker because the night light's on the other side of the room. But, if I have to get up and it's like really dark for some reason, or if the power goes out, I have a flashlight. And when I say a flashlight, I don't mean a big jobby. I mean like it's about the size of a pin. That's what it basically is a pin with a thing on it. And I've got it under my sit-up pillow so it's not under my head. But, I can turn it on if I need to get up in the dark. So, that's a good idea for your older folks. Electrical cords and telephone wires out of the walkway. We just put, I got my oldest son got me a dishwasher for Christmas, a countertop dishwasher, and the cord was going to be in the way. So what we did was we Got those little hooks you can, put up into the ceiling to hold plants or whatever. We got some good size hooks and put them up underneath our cabinets and have the cord running on those and then down the wall. So that way it's not in the way. Rugs and carpets with well secured to the floor. So if you're going to have carpeting, it needs to be well secured. It can't be bunching up. I was in a place where they put their own carpeting down, and that's fine if that's all you can afford to do. But the rug did give. There was some give to the rug, and it bunched, and, that's not going to work for me. And it won't work for really old people either. Inspect for hazards, such as exposed nails and loose threshold trim. Again, like I said, you can easily trip over that. Furniture and other objects in familiar places and not in the way. And that's why I say I can get around my house easy enough, because I can float from furniture to furniture. I can put my hand on this as I go that way, put my hand on the other chair as I go that way. Like I say, I'm kind of like a blind person in my home, because I know where everything is, and I can, put my hand on stuff as I go through the house, and help me keep my balance, so that I don't have to have the cane in the house. Because my house is too small to be banging around with a cane. Furniture and other objects in familiar places, not in the way. Rounded or padded table edges. That's more, I think, for babies, honestly, than older folks. Most older folks are not going to hit their head, on the edge of a table and get hurt. But if that's a concern, sure, go ahead and do it. Couches and chairs, proper height. We had this problem with my mother-in-law. She got down on a couch. For some reason, she has a chair that's high enough. She's got pillows and everything. My dad has a lift chair. But she got down on the couch and couldn't get back up. And so she called my middle son and my husband. I can't get up out of the couch. So they had to go get her up out of the couch. To get into and out of easily. So again, things for old folks can be hard. Exercises designed to improve balance can restore body control and postural stability. Again, and if you're worried about your balance, you can stand on one leg. You can lift your leg and hold it, and if it's hard for you, start, on 1 minute, a day, or, seconds, depending on how, and then work up each day till you can, stand. You see the yoga pose where the person's, on the one leg, and they put the tree where they put their foot on the knee and can stand that way for a while. Work up to that, so that you have some balance, and you won't fall on your booty. The traditional Chinese practice of Tai Chi is especially effective in maintaining balance, strength, and aerobic capacity. Now, I do Tai Chi sometimes, and there's a group that goes out to a park near my house and does Tai Chi. So it is helpful, and it does require that you, move slowly sometimes, and that you, have some balance. So it's a good thing, to do if there's a Tai Chi group, or, you can just watch a video or whatever and, do it yourself. So, that's helpful. Response time, which is generally related to neurological changes, also can improve with training. So, that you lose that, like someone throws something, you're going to catch it, and your response time was too slow. You're like one of those dogs that gets hit in the head with something. But, as you gain strength and balance, that also improves. Older people who played video games for 11 weeks using joysticks and trigger buttons had faster reaction times than a sedentary control group. So this is a good excuse for you older adults to take up video games. Yay! Play with your grandkids. Sexual functioning. Don't giggle. Come on now. The most important factor in maintaining sexual functioning is consistent sexual activity over the years. Again, if you don't use it, you lose it. A healthy man who has been sexually active normally can continue some form of active sexual expression into his 70s or 80s. Women are physiologically able to be sexually active as long as they live. Their main barrier to a physiologically able to be sexually active, fulfilling sexual life is likely to be the lack of a partner. Because unfortunately, guys, we still outlive you 2 to 10 years on average. So some of the older ladies might not have a way to express themselves sexually. And that's where I'm going to leave you for today. I hope this helped you figure out maybe a little bit more about why you do what you do. Excuse me. Thanks for watching. Please like and share this educational program so we can spread it around the world. If you want to help me out, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you want to help me out even more, go to my Patreon page and become a patron. That's all for now. Until next time.